don't be mad at YouTube. Just if we can't beat them, we might as well join them. But when I say by joining them, join them to a certain level where we're educating them. My son is a sneaker reseller and he created his own company, DNA Shoes, and they started doing a bunch of different things and going to sneaker conventions across the United States. Richard Branson goes, "Why San Francisco?" He says, "Well, that's where your corporate headquarters is, and I want to go job shadow everybody you train." So Richard Branson looks at him and was like, "That's a genius answer." Nifty is one of those pieces that you're not going to want to let go of, because not only is it going to be something that's going to be great for them, it's something that you guys can do together. Before you know, you might be building a business together. So times are changing. So one of the things a lot of school industries, a lot of individuals, you can't run from it. AI is a big thing. I personally learn each and every day from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning, new AI elements that help simplify my daily processes as an individual. I always tell a lot of individuals, yes, Nifty is an entrepreneurship education nonprofit organization, but what we do is we prepare students for life.
Hey Mom, it's Trish. Every conversation, every story, and every resource I share has one purpose: to help you homeschool, not by adding more to your plate, but by offering creative ideas and resources to awaken your child's sense of wonder. Because homeschooling isn't just about curriculum, it's about building a love of learning, discovery, and lifelong memories with your family. God has called us for this task. So take a deep breath and welcome to the greatest adventure of your life. Let's do this together. Hello, it's Trish with Hip Homeschool Moms, and I'm here to have another homeschool conversation. And today I'm having a conversation with Chris from NFTE. Okay, so Chris, your last name is a mouthful. Say it for me.
I got you covered. So it's Chris Brignolle.
Wow, is that French? Is
Yeah.
that
Yes.
okay? It sounds a little bit French. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
So explain to me what NFTE stands for and who NFTE is.
So it's the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And again, Chris Brignolle, I'm the Senior Executive Director for the NFTE Southeast region, and I support other regions as well. But what NFTE is, what we do is we bring entrepreneurship education to schools, school districts, community-based organizations, and now even better, homeschool parents.
Hey, we're so excited to hear that. That's a super big announcement and a new direction for y'all. So I'm excited to be a part of that. So thanks so much for joining me to talk about that. And what's even more fun is you're a homeschooler.
Yes, I am. I
Oh my
am.
God. So
And
talk to me about that. How long have y'all been homeschooling? How old are your kids? How did you get into it?
so my daughter is 18 years old, and when she was in middle school, she was having a hard time. She's definitely a people person, but she was having problems, with kids bullying her, and this it wasn't sitting well with her. So in seventh grade, she asked, "Hey, can I be homeschooled?"
Oh my gosh, how many kids do that? So how smart is that?
Yeah, so it kind of threw my wife and I off a little bit because I was like, I'm not a teacher. I know I am into entrepreneurship education. I've been doing Nifty now for 20 years, just about.
Wow.
And I was like, how does this work? So it sat well with me once I figured out through Florida Virtual, 'cause
Oh
that's what I
yeah.
went through, that they had their own teachers online. Great check-in system where I was able to log in online and speak with the teachers,
Yeah.
had their numbers on speed dial. It was all I had to do was kind of pull up my dashboard, take a look at what her grades are looking like, and stay on top of her. And my son was also homeschooled at the time, and the sky was the limit from there. And I
Yeah.
was like, I can do this. So throughout middle school, she's stood after midway through the seventh grade year. And for those of you parents that don't know, you would probably hear from schools at times that do not pull out, your child before February. There's a reason behind that. So just make sure you fight for it. If you do want your child to be pulled out before February, do it, because there's dollars in play with the schools and the districts.
Mhm.
And again,
Yep.
if it's
Yep.
not for your child, just fight for them as much as you can to get what they need and deserve, right? And in this case with my daughter, she needed to be home with me. since I worked from home as well, so it worked out perfectly.
Oh, that's
I was
great.
able to stay on top of her, and she was actually sitting for a while right beside me until I got comfortable. And then we moved her computer and everything to her room so she was able to have her space when she was working. And I
Right.
found that she was self-sufficient, and it worked out.
That's great. That's great. Florida does have a very unique system. Not every state is fortunate enough to have what Florida has. Y'all have a great system down there. So from a looking back, I guess because you have one in college and one that has she already graduated? No, you said she's about to graduate, right?
One credit left, to be
Okay.
exact. Half a credit, actually. Half a credit.
So looking back, are there any words of wisdom or any experiences that you're like, oh my gosh, this was just something that for me, and in my homeschool career, the relationships, that was the biggest thing for me. I have three boys, and all of mine, I have two that have graduated from college, one that's still in college, and I don't, you always hear these, you have 18 summers. And I'm like, no, I had 365 days a year times 18 and more. So, no, yeah. So, what was your looking back going, yeah, that was worth it?
One of the biggest things that say it was worth it. So, again, she has a half a credit left. She's 18 years old. She's a driver now on her own, and she works for an elevator company now where she can break down any type of elevator. When we go out to
Oh,
restaurant
wow.
locations, she breaks down the elevators and talk about the quality of the elevator,
Oh,
right? So I bring this up is because when she got the interview, it was through a friend of the family, and they were like, I'm not sure if she's gonna be able to do this. She's pretty young. And they were like, no, I'm telling you, this interviewer, you'll be fine. And when she went in, the way she carried herself and presented herself during the interview, her CEO of the company she works for was like, I need you to meet my daughter because she needs to be like you. And my daughter was like,
oh,
no, she needs to be like herself, but I can talk to her about, what I do and how I do things. And, that made me feel like a great dad at that moment, knowing that
mm-hmm.
this major elevator company here in South Florida that supplies elevators all over the world really honored my daughter and hired her at the age of 16, to be
Wow.
exact. And she was at that time she was only working 1 to 2 days a week, full days, and then the remaining days she was focusing on school. As she got closer to graduation, she carried on more days. So now she's at 4 days a week, and she was doing school during her lunch breaks, early AM before she goes in, and then after work, and then she has the full day on Fridays, and then she geared the weekends towards doing finishing school as well. And one
That's
of
a
the
work ethic right there. That's something else
yes,
you should be really proud of. That's
yes.
great.
And I mean, my son was also homeschooled in middle school, but then once he got to high school, he wanted to do football, even though he could still do football at the
Yeah.
local schools, but he likes to be around his friends on a daily basis, where my daughter made sure she had her gym, her yoga, and everything after school where her friends resided. So she
Yeah.
still met her friends, still had, date nights with her friends, movie nights, and all of that good stuff. And had that friendly environment with friends and was not a loner anymore. That was my biggest fear, and that did not happen because we was definitely pushing in those directions to make sure she was around people.
Yeah, that's great. So she went through Nifty, or did both of them go through Nifty?
They both went through Nifty. One, so I mean, parents, I'm sure you all experienced this where you could tell your kids a million and one things, and it goes in this ear, out the other. And
Right.
here, here comes a good friend of the family that comes through and says the same exact thing. And guess what? Dad, did you hear what they just
He's
said?
brilliant.
Yes. I'm like, I've been saying that, but I don't do that anymore. I just go with the flow. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's an amazing idea. But my son, again, didn't take on to the homeschooling. And I think the way I chose to do homeschooling, where I was not the parent leading a lot of the sessions, they needed to be self-sufficient. And my
Hmm.
daughter was that one that was able to work on her own. As long
Right.
as I nudged her from time to time, after maybe half a year of nudging, that was over. She did it on her own. And all I have to do is look at the dashboard just to keep track of what's happening. Where my son was just like, it was a lot of pushing, where he was just like, I want to go back, play football, and go to high school and graduate with my class. Where she also has that opportunity to graduate with her class and all that great stuff. So you don't miss those opportunities. But again, she's the one that took on to it and,
Mm-hmm.
has nothing but straight A's. And that's a blessing as well. And not just regular classes, AP courses as well. And so I bring all of that into fruition because with the Nifty program, and not just because I work for Nifty. And my daughter, the first thing she told me, she says, Dad, if I go to biz camp, I don't want you to talk to me at all. I said, well, I'm not really the facilitator, nor am I there every day. I drop you off. That's probably going to be it. So she had her own mentors because Nifty brings a wraparound model. It's
Right,
not
right.
just curriculum. There's other layers that you can sign up and register for with the Nifty program. So we bring in volunteers, we bring in the corporate community, and they wrap their arms around our students, and it's the full Nifty experience. The Nifty experience is why our students are successful. And the passion that lies because we are a nonprofit organization where we come into the equation where we bring the curriculum, but we bring it with passion.
Right,
Anybody that works for a nonprofit organization comes into the equation because of the passion that lies behind it. I,
right.
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I always tell everyone, it took the village to raise this child.
Mm.
And, I knew if I bought something for $1, I can sell it for two. And when I found Nifty, I became a Nifty student nearly 20 years ago.
Oh,
But I
wow.
was an employee learning with the students and the teachers.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
it was definitely an amazing experience. And my daughter saw it all the way through. And her first business was because of an experience. So she had a why behind the business she created.
Oh,
And
interesting. What was her first thought when she got in there? And because y'all are involved, you personally are involved too. I know that kind of gave you a little bit of a, conflict of interest going in there, but at the same time, what did she think of it? Was she apprehensive? Was she excited? How did she feel after she got into it?
she So when she got into it, she was again, she was excited, but not so excited because her dad worked at Nifty, and they
Right.
thought if she thought if she achieved anything, it was gonna be because of, oh, my dad works here and that's why. No. So little by little, she started earning her own stripes, getting recognition from the teachers.
Oh,
And I actually even pulled back to the point where I had my wife pick her up and drop her off. Dad
yeah.
was a part. And then one of the cool things was that again, she didn't allow me into her space while she was developing her businesses. Did she come ask me questions from time to time? Yeah, and I answered it just like any parent would, or should at least. And with that said and done, she got a mentor, she got a coach. They drilled her. She came home sometimes like, Dad, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I was like, just stick with it. You can't give up on it. I said, this is a business that you started because of Ms. Jody. When we went to Key West, we hired a babysitter from the hotel that they provided, and that always stood in her mind. She was like, oh man, I would love to see Miss Jody one day because if anybody knows in Key West, after a certain time, it's more for adults. So
Mhm.
Jody had arts and crafts for her, took her to the movies, they did mini golf. So she says, I want to create something called extra care where I have my babysitting services in hotels.
Oh,
And
that's so smart.
and that's what she created with her best friend, Amy. And they went through the biz camp. They won the competition. They actually made it to nationals and won the local competition. But it was the year of COVID. So she always like holds it against me. She's like, Dad, I wanted to do this program again, but I wanted to go to New York and present. So,
So many people were impacted by those 2 years, and all of my kids had different reasons and different problems during that time too. But I hate to hear that. But she still made the successful business. She just didn't get to compete at the national level.
yep.
So
Yeah.
she actually won in the end because of her business. So let's talk about that. So you also mentioned that room that you're sitting in has something to do with, is that your daughter's too?
Yes. So it's now dad's.
Oh, your
So
dad is taking it over now.
yes. So I'll give you the storyline behind that. So pre-COVID, the kids were home all day. Some teachers knew how to adapt to virtual teaching and some didn't. And I noticed every time I peeked in on the computers, it was just kind of sitting there. And then the teacher's like, "Oh, we can log off now." And they'll log off like it was half days at times. And I was just like, "What's going on here?" And then the first thing I saw, they picked up the gaming controller in their hand.
Oh yeah.
Like, listen, if you're gonna play video games, I'm gonna challenge you. Start a business. My daughter at the time was like, "What? I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not." She's like, "I'm playing Animal Crossing. I'm not doing this." My son, on the other hand, he was like, "Dad, can you get me some game bucks?" I forgot what game it was at the time, but you had to buy dollars for the inside of the game. And I'm a big gamer too, but I don't have time anymore to play games at times. But that was a time that I was like, "All right, let's get the controllers out, let's play." And I spent maybe 200 bucks on some game dollars, and it disappeared in like 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm not buying another Game Bucks card for us to play these games. It's like we're gonna earn our way throughout the game to earn the dollars. So my son goes, I think I got something. Hold on. Let me call one of my friends to see if he wants to join. And he joined online and he ran this mission in the game and he was able to achieve points and dollars in there. And his friend said, "Man, I'll give you 20 bucks if you could do that again with me because I just got like $8 million in the game and I need more to buy this house that I want." So my son was like, "All right." And then he goes, "Dad, I think we got something. Let me call my friend." It's my other friend wants to do it too. And his friend did it. He probably generated 150 bucks
Oh,
within a few hours. And he was like, and I'm looking at him, I was like, you got a business now. This is a business. And he looked at me, he was like, "For real?" And I was like, "This is what I was telling you. If you're gonna play the video game, create a business." So before you know it, him and my daughter now comes and says, "Let's do game walkthroughs. I love Animal Crossing. I can
oh,
invite people to my island and share. We can change different,
oh
trinkets
yeah.
that we achieved." And before you know it, they were up from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight daily on the weekends, just powwowing through. And then as soon as school ended, which was usually around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock during COVID, and they would just soar through. And they generated about $60,000
That's
within 3 months.
insane.
Created a website. Since I love technology, I created a website for them, showed them how to, connect their cell phones, where we had like a Google Voice and both their phones rang when a client called. So they learned how to answer the phones and communicate with potential clients. And majority of the clients were parents because they
That's
needed like almost like a babysitting service for their kids.
yeah.
Point
Yep.
that my son and daughter was like, "Oh, here's little Billy again. They're coming online." And I don't like how I'm gonna do this. He likes to talk a lot, Dad. I was like, customer service is key. You gotta make the client happy, and that's the client's child. So you got to make the child happy because if not, they're not gonna return.
That's
So they
right.
started doing the numbers in their head. They start even breaking down the amount of hours they work. What is their hourly rate? Is it a ROI or they're losing dollars? So
Yeah.
they really figured out how to budget themselves accordingly. And they started out with a low price, but then it skyrocketed. It was almost like $100 for an hour and a half that
Wow.
parents would pay them.
That's crazy. That's so fun. I love that they did that. So many kids you see doing that and kids absolutely love watching that. What is it about that
Yes.
that they just love watching other people play? I thought that was the craziest thing when my kids were younger and they would wanted to watch other kids play games. And I was like, what is that about? Are they talking about inappropriate things or whatever? And of course they're not most of the time. I mean, I guess there's some out there that do, but the ones that they were watching weren't. And I was like, that's crazy. I never thought that that would be a business, but it was for quite a few people.
Look at Little Ryan. I mean, now it's I forget the
Yeah.
lady's name that's on Miss Rachel. So Miss Rachel is this new YouTuber that every baby in this world is attracted to her voice.
Oh,
And all Miss Rachel goes and she talks about like ABCs and this, that. And the littlest baby is attracted to Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel got millions of views. So
yeah.
back then it was little Ryan, and his parents would take him for like toy shopping. And they go to Target and things like that. And every kid was watching Ryan.
Yeah.
And I always tell parents, don't be mad at YouTube. Just if we can't beat them, we might as well join them. But when I say by joining them, join them to a certain level where we're educating them
Yeah.
on do's and don'ts as they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it got to the point that sometimes, we have these things called iPhones, and parent controls and I was locking down hours. It was doing certain things, but every parent does things a little differently. So I always did that in the beginning, but then
Yeah.
I started giving them a little more leeway because they earned it. Once they earned it, the locks came off. The trust factor set
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, that's right.
Now my kids will tell me anything, at least I think, I hope. But I'm confident that they tell me everything when something's bothering them or whatever the case, and they can never hide something from us because there's no need to. And then we open up that bond now. And I'll be
Mm.
honest with you, homeschooling my daughter really brought us closer.
Hmm.
And
I know.
that's one of the most, and she's the only girl out of four boys, but you know, she
Woo!
is
Boy, she ain't a little bit spoiled, is she? Just a
yes, she
little.
is.
And protected by four boys and dad.
And then, you know, I'm glad to say little by little entrepreneurial skills rubbed off on a lot of my kids. So like you might notice some sneakers, they're like a collector's
Yeah, I
sneakers.
do.
My son is a sneaker reseller and he created his own company, DNA Shoes, and they started doing a bunch of different things and going to sneaker conventions across the United States. And I'm his biggest fan. I love sneakers too, and I buy his sneakers. So again, there's a little bit of everything in here that resembles all four of my kids,
That's so
from little
cool.
figurines in the background made by 3D printers through one of my sons. CJ's the oldest. He's 27, plays with Legos. And I always tell people that Legos are not just for young ones, they're for adults too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
Lord. We are going through, I think I told you before, my background's blurred because I was hit by a tornado earlier this year, and we were having to move everything out of the house. And I can't even begin to tell you how much Lego. I mean, it was just I had a whole Lego closet upstairs where we had it all organized, everything. I was like, my goodness, I've got a fortune here in Legos. And of course, I'm keeping them and giving them to them when they have kids later. But I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
crazy. But yes,
The
Legos.
Legos.
And they still play with them. Blake, my oldest, just bought a new not my oldest, my youngest, just bought a Lego set a couple of weeks ago and got one for his girlfriend. I was like, Lord have mercy. I'm telling you, even kids in college, and she's going to
Yes.
nursing school, and they are all still doing Legos. It was flowers. And then, isn't that the most romantic thing? He gave her flowers.
That's what my daughter Leah just built. So we was all at the dinner table the other day. So my son, 27, CJ, he had his Lego set and he's into like Star Wars
Yep.
and things. And my daughter had this like flower pot with this flower that she was building. So I'm looking at them. So my wife and I was like, we're gonna buy Lego sets too. Because I'm telling her, I was like, let me see if we really built this correctly. So I'm looking, trying to find flaws. I couldn't find any, but I was just picking at them. So they were like, let's have a Lego competition. So I said, we're gonna buy
Oh,
like a Titanic ship, and then we're gonna build. So it's 3 or 4 sections. We all will have one section to build, and then we'll put it together and keep it on the mantle. Because I think that piece I would like to have in my living room because it's actually an intricate piece, and it's
yeah.
the Titanic at the end of the day. So
That's so cool. I love that. The relationships that you build with your kids and homeschooling, like you said, it brings you closer. I love.
yes, absolutely.
So, what surprised your daughter? Were there any surprises when she got through with Nifty? Did she come back and go, I never expected that to happen? Or was there anything that surprised her? Or had you done a really good job of telling her all about it?
There was a lot of surprises. So one of the main surprises was, I think, the coaches. They have different levels, right? So
Yeah.
they start off gentle and they start off, hey, and then you'll meet the next week, and then she's not delivering something that she may was supposed to turn in, and then the coach is like, look, like I could be working, or I can come work with you and spend some good time that an adult will probably pay tens of thousands of dollars for. So,
Mm.
the coach started getting a little harder. And then she was like, Dad, I don't know if I could do this. And I was like, why? Tell me why. And then she explained, I said, is that a reason why you stopped doing something because it got hard? And she was like, no. And then, so that was a shock to her in the beginning, like the level of engagement. And again, maybe because I do work for Nifty, and I was like, you could push that button. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll go full steam ahead. And as we interact with parents, I always have that conversation also with parents. Like, let us know, what's the
How hard,
threshold?
how hard,
Yeah,
how soft skinned are they, or how
yeah,
hard?
yeah.
Yeah, thick
Because
skin.
again, we have some high level coaches and volunteers that come in and interact with our students. And we used to have something called Startup Summer. And Startup Summer is an intense boot camp. So we have 2 weeks of biz boot camp and then 6 weeks, excuse me, 4 weeks of launch.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to tell all parents in the beginning, I said, your children may come home in tears maybe the second or third day. I said, because it's called Biz Boot Camp. This is not a babysitting service, this camp, because we're giving initial dollars for them to start their business.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We have a waiting list of a lot of kids that want to get in here, but they're the top 25. So
Wow.
we're going to emphasize. So they come home, don't, oh my God, it's going to be okay. Let's let it go. Because after that second week, it's almost like the real world MTV style back in the day. So parents, I'm dating myself a little bit. I think a lot of the kids don't know what MTV Real World is, but
Yep.
at the end of the series, they may have bickered throughout the series, but at the end, no one wanted to depart. And that's
Yeah.
how the camp is. We even had kids hiding on college campuses from their parents because they wanted to finish another business plan slide. They needed to
Oh.
identify their target market, things to that nature. So
Oh.
at the end, she really, Leah came through and was just like, you know what? It was all worthwhile because a lot of the things that she took out of the biz camp and learned, she now implements at work day to day.
That's
So
great.
constantly tells me certain things. She's like, yeah, and references biz camp. Constantly is referencing biz camp. And I was like, wow. I was like, I know what we do at Nifty. I know how we do it, but I never had the privilege until then to be able to witness my child coming home. Like I used to always imagine what are the kids going home talking to their parents about.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, that was one of the first things, I asked, like, I know I'm an employee at Nifty, but my daughter really wants to be in this program. So one of the things we did was made sure we filled all the seats. And then if something came available at the third hour, I was like, Leah, we got you a spot. Jump in. And that's when, the sky was the limit at that point.
That's great. So what skills do you think she take away that are going to be valuable? I mean, my goodness, this girl's already done so much. I mean, she even before she even went to Nifty, she had already done some pretty amazing things. But wow, what did Nifty do to even hone that? Because that to me, I'm thinking she was already pretty successful on her own before Nifty. So what could Nifty do to make that better,
So one of the things I think time management that she took away.
Oh yeah, Lord, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think that's a challenge for all of us, isn't it?
Yes, it totally is. And
Yeah.
even as a 46-year-old young adult,
There you
um,
go.
you got to really, balance your time out wisely. And I think she locked that in early on. And I think as a homeschool student, that's one of the critical elements, right?
Yes.
Right? Making
Yeah.
sure you're budgeting your time wisely. So you also have me time for yourself and also are really dedicated towards, and her goal originally was to be done a year ahead of time. But then she saw that she was taking AP courses and she was driving herself crazy. So she was like, all right, I'm gonna pace myself back to the average student, what they do. And that's what helped her out a great deal, the pacing. And she
Yeah.
always referenced back to her nifty time when doing her business plan. She had X amount of time because the camp back then was only 2 weeks
That's
and she only
right.
had 2 weeks to finish something that a lot of students do throughout a whole entire school year.
Wow.
And so she was, again, over the summer dedicating her weekends to
Mm-hmm.
a concept. And she became a perfectionist after that as well. So, like, she never settled. Even if she got great feedback, she wanted greater feedback.
That's
And she needed to hear new elements of what can she do better in her business. And then she also now implements that in her life.
Well, that's interesting because, a lot of kids take it personally if they get any kind of criticism or critique, and just the ability to be able to hear it and not be defensive and use it to actually make your business better, or even just the way you're thinking or approaching a subject. It's not even just always about a business. It's can be just about life, you know,
Yes.
being willing to hear that harder critique is pretty amazing too.
I'm glad you brought up that about life, the keyword life, right? So I always tell a lot of individuals, yes, NFTE is an entrepreneurship education nonprofit organization, but what we do is we prepare students for life in
Yeah.
general. Yes, one of the elements is you're going to create a business plan. I call it like your lifeline in your back pocket if you need it, right?
Hmm.
So like you hear kids constantly say, well, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer. Cool. What do doctors and lawyers sometimes do? Create their own practices.
Hmm.
That's business. I
Yeah.
said, so think about the elements you can take even on your career path out of Nifty. So a lot of our students they become a huge asset to companies that they apply for. Because if an entrepreneurship student comes into, I'm gonna use, I don't know, Apple, and this
Hmm.
is actually a true story. So the kid goes to Apple to go work at one of the malls and gets turned down. He goes through the Nifty program, applies again, he gets accepted.
Yeah.
Now, one of the key elements is when they go into a business interview now, they're not going and just saying, yeah, I would love to this job to learn X, Y, and Z, whatever. No, they going and now on the interview, they're bringing new elements about your company. They're like, yeah, but have you guys ever thought about X, Y, and Z doing this? I noticed the line system on Black Friday during Thanksgiving is out the door that way. Have you thought about a ticket system? And like they're bringing new elements to the conversation. So when
Right.
you hiring this person is like you hiring yourself as the owner, and you're like, this person's coming in not only going to just do their job, they're going to bring a new level of elements that I can add to this company and that's who they want to hire.
Oh, no
So
doubt.
I've heard that story so many times. And I said, I use Apple, the computer company, because of a true story. Like I had the privilege to spend a week with a student and Richard Branson and his team. And
Wow.
Richard Branson is one of the top,
Yep.
wealthiest persons in the world, owns Virgin everything, Virgin
Yep.
American, I mean Virgin Airlines, Virgin Mobile, you name it, and
Yep.
now cruise lines, and I think has a spaceship to go to space actually as well. So Richard Branson was a partner of Nifty way back when I started, and we had the privilege to spend some time with the inauguration flight coming into Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
So
wow.
one of our teachers and four students, and Richard Branson, comes to meet and greet us and the plane comes on as a whole display. If you never saw an inauguration of a Virgin America flight, make sure you find one. It's a movie. So the plane comes in on the tarmac, the stairs open up, and all these celebrities come off the plane. So Darnell Skeppel, if you're hearing this, we're proud of you, man. So all he's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So Richard Branson comes over to us and his stylist goes, we need to change, what you have on. And Darnell's looking like, all right, what's happening here? So Richard Branson takes off a regular white t-shirt. I think it had like a hole in it, and his stylist gave him a new white t-shirt. And this basically the same outfit he had on. He just got a new outfit of the same one. So Darnell was like, nothing changed. It's the same thing. I said, that's part of this look. He has a lot of photos happening today. So
He wants it to look good.
and so we start talking to him. So Richard goes, let's go on the plane. So he takes us on the plane. How many of you flown before? We're all like, yeah, we traveled everywhere. Donna goes, I never left Miami. And it shocked me because I didn't realize this was happening in front of me right now. So I'm listening, and Richard Branson goes, have you been to like South Beach, to the beach at all? I've never been to the beach before. And I'm taking it for granted now that, the beach is only about 15 minutes away. Darnell never been to the beach. So Richard Branson goes, high five to you. Wherever you want to go in this world, all expenses paid for you. And
Holy
again,
moly.
hear this answer because I'm not going to give Nifty the whole credit for the answer, but they deserve a lot of the credit and the teacher because it's what the ecosystem built based on this answer. So Richard Branson goes, where would you like to go? He goes, San Francisco. And I'm looking at Darnell, I'm like, man, I would have got you that San Francisco ticket. I would have said something different, like the private island or something like that. But here it comes. Richard Branson goes, why San Francisco? He says, well, That's where your corporate headquarters is, and I want to go job shadow everybody you train. So Richard Branson looks at him and was like, that's a genius answer. And by the way, I didn't train any of them. They're all brighter and smarter than I am. That's
Oh
why
my
they work. I actually probably work for them. They, so Darnell goes, that's where I want to go. And he goes, how long do you want to stay? He says, I think a week would be great. So Richard goes, no problem. So Darnell looks at me. He was like, my mom and dad's not going to be able to go, Mr. Chris. Would you like to go? I was like, let me think about this. Yes, the answer is yes. We're going.
Yeah, right. Oh
So
my gosh.
VIP treatment all the way through. We get on the plane. We got to meet with the pilots. And I was looking at the plane. I was like, Darnell, just know not every airlines looks like this with the neon lights and
Yeah, the
looks.
coldest.
I said, they're setting the bar high for you right now. And he looks at me, he goes, a high bar is good because this is all I'm gonna want moving forward. And I'm looking at it and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm like, wow. And he looks at me again while we're sitting down on the plane. And he goes, Mr. Chris, I just want to say thank you to you, Nifty, my teacher, for this experience because if I've never had the opportunity to do this, I might be still stuck in Miami. And he says, I've been around Nifty now. How many years, Mr. Chris? I said, about 4 years. You're graduating this year. And you're going off to college. He goes, I'm so excited that I actually decided to do my business plan this year versus help other kids. Because he would just help other students in the class. He never wanted to do a business plan because he was fear of being judged, of
Oh,
not knowing what
oh.
what was next.
If it was even, he may have wondered if it was even possible for him, you know?
Absolutely. So I leave you with this. Darnell is now a proud dad. I think he has 3 children, high level position with Apple still to this day, and
You're kidding.
runs his own consulting company in the tech world for cybersecurity and all this fancy things that I can't even pronounce the words to. And
Oh my gosh.
again, it was because of the ecosystem that we bring and wrap around arms around these kids, not just in our schools, but even in the homeschool approach that we're heading in now. You know,
Wow.
this is all, it's very new, but this is going to be something parents are going to be able to find in the marketplace and be able to bring it in for their kids. I'm looking at a screen now and again, been being with Nifty 19 and a half years, the program is called Next Level Startup and it's gonna be it blew my mind when we got presented it not too long ago. But I also had been parts of several layers of the conversation. So shout out to Ryan Kinzer, our CEO, JD, Janine Schloss, and many others that have their hands on
Mm.
this new curriculum that is being designed for the homeschool students and parents. And me as an entrepreneur, also outside of Nifty, I look at it and like the first thing I said, where can I sign up at? If you parents know in your marketplace, you always left over with some decent dollars to reinvest into your child in the homeschool world. So Nifty is one of those pieces that you're not going to want to let go of because not only is it going to be something that's going to be great for them, it's something that you guys can do together. Before you know, you might be building a business together.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that idea too. I love the family. I'm actually going to be interviewing some families. Azure Standard is a client of mine. And that's exactly what there is theirs is generational because he didn't even start it. His dad started it and he now runs it and his kids are in it. And it's like a big, huge generational family business. So that's amazing. I love that concept. So how do people get involved? How do they learn about Nifty? Where do they go?
Really simple. Nifty.com. And it's not NIFTY, it's NFTE.
It's on his shirt, y'all.
Go.
NFTE.
Yep, right on this.
NFTE.com.
Yeah. I,
Um,
I I love wearing my Nifty shirts, by the way, like when I'm out at supermarkets on the weekends, because they're like, oh, what are those NFTs? And I'm like, no, it's NFTE, but I like to spark a conversation and talk about what we do. I love to brag about what we do because, I always say I wish I had it as a child, but
yeah.
as an adult, I got it. And I actually launched my first business, official business with my wife because of what I learned in Nifty. And I call it ear hustling. I was always like that ear hustler while we brought in the mentors, the
Yeah, yeah,
volunteer,
yeah.
because they found us where on NFTE.com. And there's a volunteer portal that you could actually go if you want to just volunteer, see what the program is about. You can do it virtually or you can do it physically, depending where there's actually an activity happening. You put in your city and state right on our portal on the Nifty website, and it brings up all the experiences happening.
That's great. That's great.
We actually have something special for any viewer right now, and it's hot off the press, and it's going to launch like in 2 weeks, and it's called World Series of Innovation, and it's around UN Sustainable Goals, where you can go and pick a challenge, and we have something for 5-year-olds to about 11, and then we
Oh
have
my gosh.
12-year-olds to 24, and you can
Wow.
have up to 3 to 4 people per group, and you can create an idea and a business concept around one of our UN Sustainable Goal challenges. So we have like sponsors like Everbank, EY, and a bunch of other corporate high level sponsors that come up with a challenge to help the world at a
That's
global level.
great.
And kids from all over the world, not just the United States, participate in this challenge and a chance to submit between September and December. And parents at a homeschool, there's a curriculum you can even download
Oh, that's
with it.
fantastic.
And
That's
this
so
is
smart.
and it's free to the world. World Series of Innovation. Make sure you look it up. I'll send you the website link so you can pop it
Okay.
up on the screen.
Yep.
And it's one of the best kept secrets. And guess what? When the student submits, they get a chance to win some seed capital. So they can seeing is believing. That's one thing that we believe in.
That's
Seeing
so
is believing. If
cool.
they win this competition, even the ones that don't win the competition, we want to see them follow through on their projects. And before you know it, they're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna do this business anyway. And
That's
it's
cool.
something that, we help students launch and bring mentors and coaches. So if there's anything that you guys ever want to do and have like a virtual World Series of Innovation Day event online, we can set that up for you as well, parents. So
That's amazing. So, when I was talking to y'all early on, I own Hip Homeschool Moms. I also own Weird and Socialized Homeschoolers. I also own Only Passionate Curiosity, which is really kind of where my heart is. I love to spark children's curiosity. That's why I was so excited when I heard about this. But I also own Homeschool Travel Adventures. And I told them, I was like, "Ooh, to bring y'all to Tennessee and do a camp." So you never know. We might be doing a camp for homeschoolers in Tennessee where they can get a taste of it and maybe move into do y'all still do the summer thing where you do
yes.
okay, so maybe that would be like a taste of it or something like that, so we'll have to talk about that,
So
but you never know, there's some possibilities here.
so the good thing is Tennessee is in my backyard. That's part of my ecosystem that my team and I we operate in. So we have Danny Williams, we have Victor Martinez, we have Timothy Jean, we have Ashley Hemme that's up in the Orlando area, and we have someone coming on board in the Duval County area real soon. But I bring this up because we have something called the Tour de Florida, right? But
Mm-hmm.
this year is going to go outside of that. We're going to start in DeKalb County, Georgia, working our way down to
Oh,
the state of
very
Florida. So
cool.
we might be able to keep coming up to
Mhm.
Tennessee, make that stop, and then work our way back down all the way towards Homestead, Florida. So it's a week of just nonstop movement. Every day we're somewhere different, or sometimes
Wow,
we're in 2 places in one day, depending how close the school districts are. And we do competitions around that time.
that's
So
fun. Well, we'll have to definitely talk about that, so y'all just keep watching. You never know what we're going to be up to, right? Key West, when you were talking about Key West, we actually did one of our homeschool travel events down to the Keys. We actually went down to, what's the name of the Dry Tortuga? Took the ferry out to Dry
I am
Tortuga.
jealous.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. When I go on trips, I'm probably more unique than most homeschoolers. I take marine biologists with me. And so I had a marine biologist who's a homeschooler who is in Florida. She lives in Florida.
Don't
Um,
say that too loud, please, because my daughter's gonna come running into the room any second now, because that's what she wants to do is be a marine
you
biologist.
were kidding. She desperately needs to go on a trip with us. Oh my gosh. I'll introduce you to Ashley. Ashley is my marine biologist, and she is over in what's the name of her town? I never remember it, but it's near Vero. It's north of Vero. I can't remember the name of the little town, but anyway, that's where we usually go. We go to Sebastian Inlet a lot of times. I do a ton of marine biology. We do bioluminescent kayak trips and all kinds of fun stuff in Florida. Florida became our playground during COVID because that was the only place that was still open was Florida. And so I fell in love with Florida. I mean, everybody loves Florida anyway, so it wasn't hard. But for homeschoolers, it's a break. We don't have, most people don't have the luxury of having a Florida near them. It's just so amazing. There's so many things to do there. So yeah, we did Dry Tortuga. We did the Keys. We did, all the turtle stuff and all the fun stuff down there. But I love that area. So when you said y'all went to the Keys, I was like, yep, I love that place too. So
we always go to the end and we always stop at the sanctuary. So we stop at the turtle sanctuary.
Yes, that's where we went. Yep.
And my daughter's a big advocate of making sure that they're never being mistreated. So like that's her biggest. She went in the first visit. It wasn't like a trip that's of excitement. It was more like, let me make sure that there's no mistreatment happening here. And cover that every time we go down now. She's like, Dad, can we stop here, please?
Oh, that's so cool. I will really my friend Ashley Chelberg Miller, who actually is my marine biologist, she has a 501c3 that she is over on the coast, Atlantic coast, and her pet project is turtles. So those two would be like, so yes. Yeah, well, I'll introduce y'all after we get off. But so they can sign up and they can learn more about it. And you've got this cool World Series coming up, which we're going to get the notes, and I'll have that in the show notes. Anything else that we want to be sure that we cover before I bid you adieu?
One of the biggest things that's going to launch any day now is the Next Level Startup. I will also give you the details to that. This goes to any parents that would like to sign their child up. And it's all around launching the AI-powered business in 90 days.
Ooh. So
taking students' mindsets to a whole nother level where you can bring in ideas around how to be a part of this whole new AI industry, right? And I love it because my coworker Danny Williams always states this and talks about the toll booths on the Florida highways. And again, dating myself, a lot of students are like, what is a toll booth clerk? I never seen that. So I tell people you could go to some small rural towns, you might find a few left, but that's about it. So I talk about the bar you see on the highway with the little magnetic things that scans your cars through. They're like, oh, that's like people used to stand there and you have to wait online and go through. So I said those jobs are not around anymore because technology changes.
And throwing coins. I remember.
Yes. Don't let it fall out because you got to open your door, squeeze down, grab it, and drop it back in.
Yeah.
So times are changing. So one of the things, a lot of school industries, a lot of individuals, you can't run from it. AI is a big thing. I personally learn each and every day from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning, new AI elements to help simplify my daily processes as an individual. So like I now have a team of individuals that work for me, but they're not human. They're AI agents.
Oh, interesting.
So I have draft emails ready to go. I have different research that scrapes the net for me that I can see things that I need to follow up on. So there's so many of these cool things that Ryan Kinzer, again, one of our superstars here at NFTE, along with Janine, Dr. LaRock, our CEO, and a bunch of others created this new element, and it's called Next Level Startup. And they're having actually a webinar coming up real soon. So again, I'll give you the link so you can post it and let people see what it's all about. And again, it's something that's fresh off the press that we're launching. And they're taking a few people in the beginning, not so many. So it's first come first serve once it's launched. So I would not let this get by you guys, and definitely tap into it for your children and for yourself, even because there's a lot for everyone to learn there.
Before we go, I want to go back a little bit. We started so fast. I feel like we need to talk about NFTE and the fact that y'all have been around. Aren't you 30 years? I mean, y'all are not new. This is not a fly by night new organization. This is a
We're,
solid, been here a long, long time organization.
yeah, we're almost at the 40-year mark.
40 years. Okay. So see, I
Almost, we're
knew it had
almost
been
there.
a
We're almost
long
there. We just
time.
celebrated maybe 3 years ago our 35th anniversary. We're preparing for our 40-year anniversary.
Wow.
And
Wow.
shout out to Steve Mariotti, our founder. He left us this year in 2025. It's
I
near
was
and dear.
just reading one of an article that he had written, and I stumbled across that. I think it was called Capitalism Camp back then, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I love this guy." Yeah, and I saw that he had passed away. I'm so sorry. Were you involved? Did you know him?
Oh, yeah.
Was he a
Who
mentor?
so when I started, he was the actual CEO, not only just the founder at the time. And Steve, one of the things he practiced was like, Chris, my biggest thing is to hire always smarter and brighter than me. He says, I love to learn from you guys each and every day. And one of the things that him and I used to share every few months or so, we shared movies. Like, what was the last movie you seen? And
Mhm.
he was a big fan of Jaime Escalante from the movie Stand and Deliver. It was about this math teacher out in LA that actually got inner city kids that no one thought they can do it to get almost or I think they all got perfect scores just about on the SAT exam.
Wow.
And it blew everybody's mind, and to the point that they thought they cheated. So they did it all over again, and they did it again. So he always talked about, you know, teachers first. Like
Yeah.
he was like, educators first. We gotta invest in our educators. They're the ones that our children are around more than us at times for probably a quarter of their life. And he says, if we're not in,
Unless you homeschool, of course.
yes, 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 yes. So and that was and I'm talking about good 15 years ago,
Yeah.
that these conversations were happening before this was a thing. Now that it's a big deal right now, times have changed officially. But with Steve, he would probably say, we got to invest in our parents
That's
because
right. I was thinking the same thing. That's exactly when
yeah,
you said that. I was like, yeah, he'd have been doing it for the parents too. He had a really reading that article, I think it was in the Huffington Post. It was a great article. Matter of fact, I hated putting it down to call y'all back in the very beginning because I was in the middle of studying y'all and researching y'all, and I stumbled across that and I was like, this is so good. And so I had to put it down to call y'all and talk to y'all. And then I was like, oh, that's a great article. So yeah, he sounded like a fascinating guy. I hate that that y'all lost him,
yeah.
but he started something big. He started something good. I'm super proud to be involved with Nifty and to help y'all break into the homeschool world.
We're
So
grateful to have you involved
well,
with us. And I look forward to any way any one of our team members at Nifty can help you out, whether it's coming online, speaking to a group of
John,
parents.
I'm going to be picking your brain. You have said so many things on this call that I'm going to be calling you over, going, okay, Chris, I need your help.
And we love to get the kids excited.
Yeah.
So we have something called virtual office hours in the Southeast, and it's not just open to our educators, it's open to our students and now homeschool parents. We'll extend the invitation to you. It's our Zoom link every Tuesday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You have myself on, Daniel Williams, my program director, Victor Martinez, our program manager, and our lead program associate, Timothy Jean. And then you have a lot of other individuals in the world of Nifty that come into the virtual office hours. It's a Zoom link. We're there working. Sometimes you might come in and conversations happening. You didn't get to the wrong place. You just got to the right place, and you might be able to hear a great conversation taking place and
And
striking.
learn something in the process.
Exactly. Exactly. Like we had a teacher come on yesterday, and before he left, he asked us about a way to launch his book. Daniel and I are both entrepreneurs, and the first thing we did is assist him as a teacher. It's not always just about the students, it's also about the educators. And now with the homeschool program, it's about you parents out there, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles that are taking their family members and homeschooling them. So we want to be able to have that doorway open for you guys where you guys
I
can
want you
come
to
on.
be thinking about something because I'm a homeschool mom and because I also own a business, but I know this is kind of it's not any place that we were going to talk, but I want to bring it up. I don't know what's possible, but a lot of homeschool parents want to have extra income while they're homeschooling. Because as you know, a lot of people have to give up one, because most states aren't like Florida that have this amazing program in place. Most families, somebody gives up a job. Just like I was telling you, I gave up my recruiting business to homeschool. And so they end up with one income families, and it's hard. I mean, you know how hard it is in the world right now. It is tight right now. And so I know a lot of families and moms especially are looking for opportunities. So that might be something that y'all think about. I don't know if that's anything that's in your.
Don't need to think about it. It's already done. We have it. It's called Started Up. So the one that's launching is called Next Level Startup. We have something called Started Up for the parents, and it's a self-paced program. And we can get creative if we get enough parents to sign up. We can even have where we have a weekly check-in with a physical online facilitator to connect with. And again, even using our curriculum, you could actually probably even utilize our virtual office hours to come on in and ask questions as you might be hitting that brick wall and you need to ask someone
I
the
don't
question.
ask.
You can set that all up. So even if you wanted to spearhead this for a bunch of parents that might be interested, we can do that and we can set up, we'll create a whole timeline of activities and actions where the parents can come on and we can help them launch. We actually just worked recently with the Miccosukee Indian Tribal Council last year for all the reservation adults that they all have their own style businesses, but we was able to now to work with them and help them take it to the next level. This is our year 2 that we're trying to ramp up and switch it up a little bit because we came in last year just teaching business, but a lot of them had their businesses already. So they were like, I know a lot of this already.
Right.
Know how to market myself. I want to learn how to, get a manufacturer to create this product. So we pivoted now where that started up program, we can bring a lot of new elements to it. And
Oh,
it
good.
the adults and it's an amazing program. It was called Career Relaunch in the beginning pre-COVID. We pivoted, created a new version, and now it's called Started Up.
That is so cool. I'm so glad I asked you because for some reason I just felt like I should ask you that even on camera. I was like, because I know moms and I know how, I mean, I guess coming from the headhunting world, I know that that's a great resource pool for people, and they're so smart. I mean, they're so inventive and they're so creative. It's like I would love to help them. So I'm glad I asked. Thank you so much for that. I can't wait to have all these in the show notes so people can kind of track down which one it is that they are excited about. And it may be more than one. One, maybe their child is going through one and they're going through one. That would be kind of a fun thing to do. So,
Absolutely.
oh my gosh, I'm so glad we talked today, Chris. Thank you so much for your
I'm
time.
excited about this too as well. And
It is.
keep up the great work. I mean, again, shout out to all the homeschool parents out there.
Thank
Don't
you.
give up. Keep
Yeah.
going. Keep pushing.
It's
And
worth it. It's worth it. Every moment, every frustration, every challenge, it's worth it. We're teaching our kids. And honestly, like we talked about earlier, the relationships are so important, but beyond that, you really are shaping their future. And you know that. You've seen that with your daughter. Where they're like silly putty, not that they are, but their little hearts and their little minds and their yearnings. That was one of the things that I love to see, where it was when they got excited about something, I could actually fan that flame and help them grow into that. I'll tell you a story and then we'll end there. My oldest son, are you familiar with mine? I know you're familiar with Minecraft. Okay, so that was I know. I was like, wait a minute, why am I asking that? So my oldest son they all wanted to be doing games online, and I was not a Roblox fan because we all know why. And so we started doing Minecraft. There was a company called Scrafty that does homeschool Minecraft, where they had a homeschool server and all these homeschoolers would come together and they would play. Well, they also had education. So they weaved homeschool into Minecraft. And so you're creating things, like Egyptian, thing. Anyway, King Tut and stuff like that. I'll tell you a story about that. But anyway, Chase was my oldest, was always tweaking the code and playing with things behind the scene. He wasn't just playing, he was back here coding. Well, he started blowing up the hub. Their hub, my friends, their friends, kept blowing up the hub for Scrafty. And the guy that owns Scrafty, when one day we were talking, and he said he worked for Regions Bank at the time. I guess he still does. He's a contractor there. And he said, I just love to see what kids do. Well, my son now credits that experience and them being so good to him and not, getting in trouble, but, just kind of they just roll it back. I guess they go back 5 minutes or whatever before and restore the hub that he had just blown up. But anyway, he literally credits that with his future. And he now works for AutoZone Corporate. He's a software engineer. And so he's doing the thing. But it was because of some of that gaming.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Isn't that funny?
The craziest thing is we have our own metaverse space in the world of Nifty.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if you have one more minute. I can actually show you.
Yes, tell me.
Here it goes. So I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but it's the metaverse space. If you heard of Art Basel, we did the first actual metaverse art exhibit walkthrough last year with one of our.
Fun.
So here's the metaverse space.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
One of the cool things is, as a student, you can come in here and you can create your own avatar. So you can go to customize avatar, and then you can create a Ready Player Me. It takes a photo of your face. Not that that looks like me, but then you can
Yes, it does.
then you can dress your avatar up and actually, set them up. So I have like 4 different characters. And what you do is it's so simple, just like Zoom. You can use your up down arrow keys to walk around. And this is our little AI robot, Sasha. You can ask it any questions.
Oh my
And one of the
gosh.
cool things is you can feed it curriculum. So let's just say, parents, that if this is like, I don't know, maybe a US history course that you want to create, you can come in here and really transform the space where you can immerse the whole space into whatever it is the students are learning. So whether it's about the Civil War or whatever it is, you can and capture the actual movements of a video, and it looks like there's a 3D perimeter around you. So I'm
Wow.
just going to show you here really quick. So we put all the marketing up for the Metaverse exhibit, where they was able to make donations to the school. It was supported by Link Logistics and a lot of our key donors over here you see on the wall, from Miami DDA, Santander, Intuit, shout out to Intuit, Miami Bayside Foundation, and so many more. And our
Very cool.
fabulous mayor, Mayor Cava of Miami-Dade. So this is what the students created. This is their artwork. So people were able to walk through this exhibit during Art Basel, and I'm gonna zoom out so you can see how big the actual facility is.
Wow.
So you was able to walk through here. This is one of the exhibits. There's another exhibit area, and come back around, go around the stage area, and then come out this way. So I'll zoom right back down really quick, and then people were able to come in here and network with the students. So the students were in avatar, right? So I'm gonna put my webcam on here, and I'm gonna put allow for this time. So you'll see my webcam on the bottom left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at me, you would actually see the webcam on the left side of my face.
That
And
is so cool.
as we all know, sometimes kids like to come off and on the camera so they can turn off the camera. So people were walking around the exhibit and then clicking on the actual artwork and zooming in on it and be like, wow, and get to read. Actually, Bonnie Buddies, shout out to them. They're in college, twins. They won our regional competition and they went off to New York and did great. And got featured in tons of different competitions at DC with the other programs, along with Nifty and so much more. The students had their price for their painting. They had a little information about it, and then they had a QR code where you can go and connect with them. And then also you can scan the other QR code to purchase a book online. The
That's
other cool thing was they were able to come into this. Shout out to Mr. Paris. That's the teacher here. He has his own book, so he's advertising on Amazon.
Good job.
And you could come here and share your webcam And imagine this, you hit the seat button and now we're talking. We having a conversation here, everything's happening, and you can come back and click on the screen to have it full size now. So
Oh
now
my
we're
gosh.
imagine you as a facilitator or other students gathering around meeting in the virtual world for homeschool students. There,
Mm.
there's even parents that actually have a physical school that they actually use in this space, which is really, really amazing. And again, you have a computer screen here that you can interact with. You hit the Zoom button, you can come here. This of course, this is the Fabulous Nifty website, by the
There we
way.
go. Yep.
And you can search the internet and you can do like, so if I have a coach online with me, I can literally come into this space and search the internet together versus separate screens that we sharing.
That's amazing.
So I'll stop there and
So fun.
again,
Wow. Y'all have so much going on. It's kind of crazy how much y'all have pulled together.
try to make it as fun as possible. You know, teachers that are actually in physical schools love this
Oh
because
yeah. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
we had kids from all over the world come in from like the Philippines, from Japan, from India, and they're all connecting one evening in this virtual world.
That's
But
so
I'll
much
stop
fun.
there.
We love that. That was one of my kids when we did it with Scrafty, a completely different environment. It was all around gaming and around, silly stuff. But they still remember some of them. One of them was so think about teaching about governments, think about the different governments that you can learn about, and think about using that in a village or in a community on a when you're playing. And what happened was one of them was, I think it was socialism or whichever one, where everybody has to have everything is the same. One of my sons had a cat in his house, and they came and took his cat and left a sign, and it said, no, everybody has to be the same. Nobody can have anything better or worse than everybody else. And so we have confiscated your cat. And I was like, he
Wow.
still talks about that. So
Wow.
games can actually be such a big part if it's used well. And so that was a real life experience with Scrafty that they loved, absolutely loved that experience. It was like, oh my gosh. And they will always remember that now. So I love that y'all are doing those things. This is fun. I cannot wait to see how we can work together in the future because y'all have so much going on. It's hard to cover it all in one conversation.
The sky's the limit.
I
Anything
know.
my number is always open for you guys to reach out. My email address. So I'll give you all the details if they ever want to reach out. The parents out there, by all means, our doors are always open. We got an open door policy to be able to talk and interact with as many parents as we can.
Well, we appreciate you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for being here today and for introducing Nifty and all the crazy fun things that y'all are doing. It's amazing. And I really like the fact that you homeschool and that you could talk about it from that perspective. So thanks for sharing about that. I do think I'm going to come back and talk him into getting his daughter on here one day. So, Chris, I'll be talking.
I'm sure she'd be excited to be on for
Oh my
sure.
gosh. Well,
And I know
thank
she
you.
hears me in the background, so I'm saying it extra loud so she can hear it.
So she can hear it. So, hey, did you say her name was Leah?
Yeah.
Hey, Leah, I'm coming for you, girl. Anyway, it's so good talking to you, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with Nifty and your homeschool experience. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining me here for this homeschool conversation. If this is your first time here, I'd love for you to join and subscribe so we can keep walking this journey together. And if today's episode encouraged you, please share it with a friend because homeschooling is better when we lift each other up. Keep learning, keep wondering, most of all, keep showing up. You're doing something amazing, Mom. See you next time.